All right, fellas, you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's have some fun. Let's bring on the token female herself, my good friend Alison Moran. She joins us right now. How you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you doing, Bri?
Same. Doing
Sam?
fabulous.
Oh, so glad. You're looking fabulous too.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Always.
Let's begin with something I know you're excited about, and that's the NWSL this Saturday is playing at Wrigley Field. Tell me how exciting that
Wrigley.
is.
Oh my gosh. First time ever. First time ever. Thank Laura Ricketts, owner of the NWSL Chicago Red Stars, for this particular opportunity. Already, we've got more than 25,000 tickets sold. Already, it's going to be at least half full. Lots of supporters. It's going to be exciting. And what's more, they're playing a team. It's the newest team in the NWSL called Bay FC.
Mm-hmm.
Plays out of Oakland, and the thing that's great is that they've already matched up with them this year, and the Chicago Red Stars have become really, I would say they know this team pretty well already, and they slaughtered them 2-1 out in the Bay Area. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. They've also got a lot of potential in starters like Mallory Swanson, whose husband Dansby, plays for the Chicago Cubs. She's been on that field a few times. I'm curious to see three things. Number one, how they both adjust to playing in the friendly confines, because this hasn't happened before for either team. So how do they adjust to the pitch? How do they adjust to a much bigger playing surface? You don't. I don't even know how they're going to be adjusting it to make it into a soccer field, but they've made it into a football field before with Northwestern every year. So I'm sure that the sod fathers there can figure it out just fine. Two, at their respective levels, you've got the Chicago Red Stars at 5-1-5 and number 6 this season in the standings so far. My concern is that they're going to be somehow confused by all of the the rules and things like that. I think they will be ready for it. However, at 5-1-5, I would suspect that they should take nothing for granted. They should be at the top of their game at any time, any moment. You don't want to be humiliated at Wrigley Field. The Cubs can do that pretty easily, okay? So
shots fired.
Yeah, that's right.
Forget a shot. She just dropped one of my howitzers. I love it.
So the Red Stars, who have every chance, every opportunity to be in this great historic stadium. I'll be very curious to see how this match actually turns out. I'm really looking forward to it. Hoping to be there. Haven't heard back for my credential yet.
I think you'll get it. I really think you'll get the credential. Speaking of credential, there's a young lady named Kennedy Carter who flashed her credential in a brush up with Caitlin Clark on Saturday.
It's all anybody's talking about still, and we're at Tuesday now, right?
I know.
I looked at it. I said that was a flagrant foul right away.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
what they counted it as a regular foul during the game, upgraded it the next day. Here's the thing. My thought is that Kennedy Carter was brought on to the Chicago Sky because the knock on them for many years has been their lack of defense.
Mm-hmm.
They have never had much of a defense since Steph Dolson left in 2021. After that, what do we have? We don't have a good defense, and it's been hard for them. So you bring in the enforcer, the Bob Probert, so to speak. I mean, remember back in the day, you remember Bob Probert, NHL bully.
I most certainly do.
Yes. And I mean, this woman is the Bob Probert. I mean, she was basically kicked off the Atlanta Dream for inciting riots among her teammates, specifically Courtney Williams, back in the day. And then she was traded to the LA Sparks after being suspended by the Atlanta Dream. And they kept her on the bench quite a bit of the time, minimizing the damage, but she still got her licks in. She goes over to play in Turkey last year. And she minded her P's and Q's. She did very well. She averaged 20 plus points a game, got good assists, rebounds. Her record was impeccable. That's what brought her back to the WNBA. Now, she does this flagrant foul on Caitlin Clark. And Teresa Witherspoon, poor Spoonie, has to go and say, she got caught up in the heat of the moment. This is this was bad on the team, blah, 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 blah. She'll do better next time. She'll understand, all this. Okay. The thing that you have to remember is that, yes, all of that is true.
Yes.
And that all these women are actually, I mean, they are in the heat of battle. And if you'll remember that score at the end, it was, 71-70.
71-70.
Yeah. And the Chicago Sky hold the distinction of now being one of the teams that Indiana Fever can beat. And I mean, think about that and the humiliation. Yesterday, Angel Reese decided that she was going to add to the mix to say that, hey, all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Now, my thing about that is, why does that sound like a lot like the Pacers team? Not the Pacers, but the Pistons teams from the late '80s. Bill Laimbeer, Isaiah Thomas, those guys. I mean, that's the attitude I'm getting from it.
Allie and I know about those fights because we've watched and saw the Bad Boys take on the Bulls in the East Finals from in the playoffs, I should say, from '88 to '91, and that was their mantra.
Did I, Brian? As did I. I started covering in about 1989. And so yeah, and I got the privilege when I was an intern of actually having to talk to Isaiah Thomas afterwards, and so I was standing next to Les Grobstein, and he refused to talk to Les Grobstein, the late great Grobber.
Oh man, Les Grobstein.
And he looked over at me And he says, "What do you like to say, little lady?" And I said, "So how are you going to go prepare? How are you going to go prepare for the next game?" Because the Bulls had just crushed them, and they said, he said something like, "Well, I'm going to go home and kiss my wife and play with my boys, and I'm going to go and get them some. I'm gonna go back and play at them real hard next time, something like that." So sorry if I did a bad Isaiah Thomas, but I'm good for mimicking. But I love, I would say that this is the first time anybody's noticed that there's been trash talking in the WNBA, and there's been physical, aggressive games. That's what makes it exciting. That's why people are coming and watching and spending hard-earned money to get there. And the thing is, as bad as it is, it's good too.
It is.
It is. Because
it makes you excited for the rematch on the 16th of June at high noon. It makes you excited for the second time. It makes you excited when they get together the second time.
And can you imagine the third time when they're matching up at Wintrust Arena?
Wintrust Arena, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, those tickets are now going for something like $600. And 600 to over 3,000 now. It's so unbelievable. A regular match is going to cost you about $40 a piece. Now, these tickets are at high premium. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. But in the meantime, go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
Talk about something Kennedy Carter said when she asked, "What else does Caitlin Clark bring to the table?" Apparently, she hasn't watched enough of Caitlin Clark to know what she brings to the table and why she was the number 1 overall pick this past spring.
What does she bring? This
that was a question.
Rookie of the month. First of all, the fastest to, what was it, at 100 points in the WNBA. Let's just say that Miss Caitlin Clark is the best thing that's happened to the WNBA since I say Candace Parker.
Agreed.
I would say that she's a lot of the reason why people are looking, and she is a lot of the reason because she's taking these hits as a rookie. She's taking them and being gracious about them. She's actually setting a great example for other players. She's setting an example for the kids who are going to be coming up next year. This is the greatness of Caitlin Clark. And the thing is that Kennedy Carter, as much as she is a bully, a trash talker, she needs to also have a little respect, right? She needs to have. She needs to show that respect, but that is not Kennedy Carter's ballywick. Let's put it that way. I'll be curious to see what happens tonight when the Sky go against the New York Liberty yet again, and I will be very curious to see if they make remarks afterwards. Yeah, it'll be epic, and it'll be at Wintrust, so we'll see.
Here's the thing, though. The Sky get a little healthier because Camila Cardoso is now in the rotation. They're easing her back into the rotation. And as you said, Allie, it's going to be interesting to see what trash talking happens before, during, or after the game. Alison Moran joined us here this morning. And speaking of a hit, the Professional Women's Hockey League's inaugural season was a smash hit.
And as I said, Minnesota took it with a shutout, 3-0.
3-0.
With a little unassisted and empty netter to cap it off by none other than their team captain, Orland Park's own Kendall Coyne Schofield. She is one of the most dynamic players that I have had the honor to interview several times over the years. And her perseverance, I mean, she's just a little ball of energy. And there was nothing greater in that I saw than that perseverance, and especially the amount of defense. Did you see the game? Did you see the game?
I did.
Oh my God.
She was all over the place. She was all over the place.
She was not going to let PWHL Minnesota lose. She was not going to. I mean, her speed is such an advantage, and her fearlessness. And Brian, I don't think you've ever done this. Her baby, her little son, is just 11 months old. She did this after having a baby.
Yep.
She and that little boy and her husband Mike came out onto the field afterwards, or came out onto the ice afterwards, and was sitting in the PWHL Cup, which was designed by Tiffany and Company, by the way. And it was, I mean, it was such a moment and even the crowd, which was a Boston crowd at the Paul Saga Center at the UM of Amherst, it was full, and they were polite fans. They didn't boo. They didn't boo Minnesota for winning. They celebrated that moment. And this was so fabulous for women to see the camaraderie, to see all, even after being humiliated on their own ice, that Boston was such a gracious loser. And also, I'm just seeing so many wonderful things with the NWHL, or the PWHL, excuse me. I just feel so good about what they started this year, and it can only get better from there.
It can only get better. It can only get better, and it's going to get better, and we're going to be fully involved next year. That's a Token Female with Alison Moran joining us, as she does every Tuesday. Always a great lineup from you. Love talking with you. We will do this again next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. It's always a pleasure to talk. And Droid, thank you for not interrupting me this time.
Thank you, Alison.
Good news is it wasn't Droid. It's the dog that was on this time.
It was Shane this time. It was the dog.
It was the dog. Well, no wonder. Dog, thank you. You are a gem, and I love you.
Making me blush already.
All righty. Take care, guys.
Take care.